All right, so let's start the class. Our next topic is asiyat ohel umechitza. We've been talking about building on Shabbat and the sort of Bnei and soter, which is taking down. Now we're going to talk about making a tent or a temporary divider, a mechitza of some sort. What's allowed, what's not allowed. There's a lot that goes into this, including the idea of making a tent. A tent, obviously, but what about lots of other portable and temporary coverings that we make, like umbrellas and awnings and things of that nature. So we're going to talk about it. It says, "Haoseh ohel kavua hayav mishum boneh." Someone who makes a set tent is obligated because of boneh. You're certainly not allowed to do. Therefore, you can't even make a temporary tent, or take down a temporary tent, lest you come to make something that would be permanent. So that's the first step, right? So I can't make a tent that is even temporary in the sense that I might make a permanent tent. So what defines a permanent tent, a temporary tent? Well, there's lots of different things that could go into that. Certainly the tents that they make for parties and things like that, those are permanent tents, right? Those you put that up, it'll be there a long time. A temporary tent might be something that, I don't know, you might say, like the pool cabana or something like that, something that won't stay for more than a couple of hours or something like that. That would be more problematic. So I guess what you would say is that a lot of the like you have those outdoor backyard little portable shelter type items. So those would be problematic, even though they're probably considered temporary. Even temporary is a problem, but we're going to go into more about this as we go along. Asur la'asot ohel b'Shabbat afilu hu aray. You can't make a tent on Shabbat, even if it's temporary, as we just said. Aval, but, and this is a big area that's important for us, lohosif al ohel aray mutar. To add to an already existing temporary tent, that is allowed. So therefore, if you have a tent that was already opened, just a tefach, the length of a thumb. Are you guys hearing me clearly or no?
Yeah.
Okay, great. If you have a tent that's already opened by this much, mutar lefros shara mahatzelet b'Shabbat. You're allowed to extend it more. He says, but the tefach has to be more than the rolled up thing. So let's say you have a pergola. You guys know what a pergola is? Let me show you. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I should have done this before, but whatever. Give me 1 second. Okay, here's a pergola. Okay, hold on. So this is a pergola. Let me see if I can get a better picture of it. Yeah, okay, this one. Right, you could sort of see. So if you see on this picture, right, there's like there's a structure that's set up already. That's all there, but there's a shade that goes back and forth, and you can see it's kind of midway pulled up. So to open and close that item would be fine. To open and close that item would be fine. I don't mean the wood pieces. I mean the mat or the cover or whatever you want to call that thing. Right? Yeah, that thing that I don't know how that just got showed, but right. So like this piece, you could open it up and So you'd be able to do that, provided there's what you call a tefach, which is this much, right, in width, that's open from beforehand. Now that tefach has to be the open part, not just the rolled part, right? Meaning when the part is all rolled up, right, that doesn't count, right? So that could be more than that doesn't count. So I'll look at the same thing would be let me get something else. Hold on one second. Right, the next thing would be an awning, right? So let me get you an awning that works. Let's look at this one. All right. Hold on one second. All right. Hold on. So here's an awning. Right, an awning, right? So I don't know how there it is. Okay, so you see this is part of the house, right? But it opens and closes, right? If you could see over there, it rolls up, right? So if there's at least a tefach, if there's at least this much that's unrolled from beforehand, then it'll be okay. But if not, then you can't. So that's the big deal, right? And a lot of us have these in our homes, these types of awnings. So the question as to whether or not you could open it or close it on Shabbat or not is whether or not you've left it open a little bit. If it's open a little bit, then it's no problem. But if it's all the way closed, then you have a problem. So that's the major thing to keep in mind. So especially, I know people have these in houses in Deal, and they're very helpful and they're very useful. But you can only use them if they're somewhat open from before Shabbat. Okay, good. The next thing that we have is, what if I have
Rabbi, sorry, what about closing it? Is it the same? Can you close it up
same. Don't close it all the way, right? Leave it the same. Anything that applies to opening is going to apply to closing. Etzim hasidurim erev Shabbat v'yesh berochbam tefach mutar לפרוס עליהם סדין או מחצל בשבת שנחשב כתוספת על אוהל ארעי, וכן אם אין ברחוב העצים טפח אלא שהם סמוכים זה לזה, שאין בין אחת ואחת שלושה טפחים, מותר לפרוס עליהם סדין. He says similar, let's say you have a piece of wood or a pole that's standing up, right? Or like the pergola, they're apart from one another, and now you want to put a blanket, a sheet, or something like that on top of it, provided that there's a tefach of width on that pole, or the pole itself provides a tefach of width of coverage, then you're okay. If it doesn't, then you wouldn't be allowed to do that. So I guess in the case of the pergola, right, that we talked about. So if you have instead of we're calling it the pergola because that's the piece that pulls out, but you have that wood, covering. I don't know maybe a gazebo or something that you want. I don't know what the proper title for it is. And there's space in between, and you want to close out the space by putting a blanket on top of it. You can, provided that the wood that's there, the structure that's there, has that tefach that we said already. There needs to be a pre-existing cover in order to use it. Okay. Okay. Asur lefrosh. So now we're going to talk about. So that's awnings and so on. Now we're going to talk about baby carriages and strollers because very often people will want to put covers on that. So he says like this: Asur lefrosh reshet o chila al gabe agalat yeladim o gabe mita o al gabe lul shel tinok kedei lagen b'fnei hashemesh o b'fnei hazevuvim. אבל אם פרסת הקהילה שבעוד יום ברוחב של טפח אחד, מותר לפרסה לגמרי, בשעה שיסירנה ישאיר את הטפח שיהיה פרוס מבעוד יום ולא יסירו. So he says that let's say you want to put some kind of covering on a baby's carriage, a crib, a bed. Sometimes the beds have those types of covering. So in order to do that, you can, if there's some tefach that exists or pre-exists. But if there's no pre-existing tefach, then you can't do that. You know, especially with the baby strollers, where there's a cover that's kind of like a mosquito protection or the plastic rain protection, there needs to be some pre-existing cover that this is extending. But if there is not some pre-existing cover that's extending, it's a problem and you can't use it on Shabbat. The next halacha, which he goes into, further explains this. It says, "Mutar liftoch b'Shabbat gagon shel agalat yiladim im haya mechubar la'agala meb'od yom." He says you're allowed to open the cover of a child's stroller, right? So many strollers, they have a built-in fold-down, you know, what do you call it, a cover, a hood, or whatever it may be, and you're allowed to open that on Shabbat, because if it was built, even if it doesn't have a tefach open or anything like that, if it was built into the stroller from beforehand, which usually is going to be the case, right? So if you have a baby stroller, a carriage, or something like that, and it has a retractable hood or something like that. So let me just pull up an example of that. Hold on one second.
Rabbi, if that's open to tefach, can you put the net on top of it?
Yes, so that's what we're gonna get to. Let me just pull something up. Right. Okay. So here's a good example. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen. Right. So this is a kind of a pretty common stroller that exists today, right? And you could see that the stroller, I'm trying to zoom in, but okay. You could see that the stroller has some covers on it, right? Those covers open and close. I'm trying to get a picture of one with it open. But when it's open, let's see if I look further down. Yeah, okay, good, 1 second. Right, if you look here, when the stroller is open, right, so 1 second. I'm just trying to get a picture, right? So, okay, I guess this is the best picture. Right here, you could see with the stroller open, you know, there's no cover, there's no tefach, but it doesn't matter. Because it's built in, it's already going to be okay. Because it's built in, it's already going to be okay. So that's going to be part of the story as well. Is since the stroller has a cover that's built in, if something is built in, even if the tefach is not there, you're allowed to open it up, okay? Therefore, he says, some of the strollers even have what you would call like little umbrellas on it. You know, where there's like a handle to the side and it opens up, and then you can open an umbrella over the top of it. And he says even an umbrella, if it's built in, even though we're going to see tomorrow or on Friday that umbrellas are a problem for opening standard umbrellas on Shabbat. But if there's an umbrella built into the stroller on Shabbat, even the umbrella may be opened. So we're going to just review. We said you're not allowed to build a tent on Shabbat. A permanent one is the melacha from the Torah. A temporary one is a rabbinical decree, lest you come to build a permanent one. And then what we've been saying is, but to extend on a temporary tent is okay, provided it's already been opened by a tefach. If there's already some tefach that's there, it's going to be okay. So for the retractable awnings or things like that, if we leave it open a tefach, that width, then that will allow us to open it. And what we've also said is if something is already built in to the way that that exists already, so like the covers on a stroller, and even an umbrella on a stroller, so therefore we're going to allow that. We're going to explain more on Friday and be able to wrap up the topic. So we'll be back to this topic on Friday for full clarification.